Hello and welcome to episode 112 of the Cutie Art Crusaders for September 2nd, 2014. My name is Rainbow Plasma. I'm the organizer and this week's editor of the podcast, and today I'm joined by...
Burned01, the special guest coordinator. I'd mess it up this time.
I'm FlutterGuy317, and I'm the media manager for the podcast.
And I'm FlutterSpark. I'm the questions DeviantArt guy.
Yay!
Except for this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So welcome back, guys. We've got the four of us again after last week's interesting episode. Did you guys get a chance to check it out at all?
I watched it in the stream.
I've seen a little bit of it.
It was really cool. I liked it.
Yeah, we thought we would do something special.
I was quite proud of the sliders and images, or what do you call it? The thumbnail image. It was actually 2 screen caps that I had taken from our web cameras because we both it wasn't even planned, just out of coincidence. We both were snap, and made guns at at our web cameras, hey, and we both just did that, and I took screen caps from both those and used it. It's fantastic.
You got tickets to the gun show, Burn?
Yeah, we should have flexed.
That would have gone badly for me. Yeah, so we thought about doing something a little bit special for last week because it was just the two of us. If you haven't seen it yet, I would highly recommend it. It was really fun, and I think a lot of people really appreciated it. We got a lot of great feedback from people, both about the fact that we were including webcams, and it was fun to have kind of a smaller, little different episode, but also in the way that we handled our theme, which we'll get into in a little bit when we get to this week's theme. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. But now we got the four of us back.
Yay.
We got the 4-man podcast going again.
I know.
So yeah.
In the chat, people seem to really enjoy the episode. They liked the format. They liked the theme that you guys chose and stuff. Well, theme/lack of theme, I guess.
Right, yeah.
But
I wonder if people were confused when they saw the title of the episode.
I know.
I was confused. And also Burned, what the heck with the description on the YouTube thing, Rainbow Plasma's getting with the rhythm of the art, and
and Burned is a sad blue horse.
Yeah. I wrote that in the DeviantArt journal, and I'm like, what the heck did I just type?
Did you get it eventually?
Well, I knew it had something to do with rhythm and
there
blues.
You go.
But yeah, I was just okay.
Yeah. It was weird though, because it was just I looked at it and I was like, oh, R&B, that's funny, and I was like, I wonder how many people thought we were doing music.
It was the Rainbow Plasma and Burn show was too long of a title.
Way too long.
So I didn't want to type that whole thing, so I just put the R&B show for short, and then I was like, wait, R&B's a thing. So then in the description, I made that concoction of words at 3 a.m, and I was super tired. It didn't work well, but whatever. It was funny.
It worked fantastic because I had no idea what was going on.
Because I was sad, because my computer was evil and it hated me, and I was a sad horse, and Rainbow Plasma's always, got the rhythm.
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right. So, it's September, and as per every September in, I guess, North America, I'm not sure how down in Australia or in the Southern Hemisphere works, but school starts after... Is Labor Day just a Canadian thing?
No, we have it here
it's a
too.
US thing.
Okay, is it a statutory holiday?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
For the most part.
It's on Monday.
So North America, in North America, we have this statutory holiday called Labor Day, which is the first Monday of every September.
Yeah.
And the way that it works in Canada, for the most part, 90% of schools have their first day right after Labor Day. So, for example, this year, it'll be September, well, when this is coming out, September 2nd will be the first day that people are back at school. Or I guess for some universities, it's September 3rd or 4th or something like that. But it's right after Labor Day is when school's starting again. So that's kind of interesting. I suspect that a number of our fans will be going back to school.
I will be.
Hope you guys enjoyed your summer.
It's completely different here, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
How is it there? I'm curious.
Here, how you guys have that big 3-month break at the end of the year during summer?
Yeah.
We don't have that.
So you just keep
we
going?
We have holidays throughout the year.
Oh yeah.
Smaller holidays?
Yeah, we have 2 weeks between semesters.
Yeah, I've heard that's
But a semester
but we
is
have
3
that
months.
too.
Well, they have a little bit more extensively.
We get
probably.
Yeah, we get like 2 weeks between, like every 3 months we get about 2 weeks, and then at the end of the year we get roughly 8 weeks.
Okay.
Okay, so that's your summer.
But
I don't
the end of the year for us is the calendar year, because
Right,
that's
yeah.
when our
Okay,
summer
yeah,
is.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really done completely
Okay.
differently then. It's just
Yeah, it's
shifted.
different.
Just flipped, yeah.
Yeah.
It's shifted with the seasons, which makes sense.
Because
Yeah.
So that
Also,
your
our
summer
Labor
is
Day's in
actually...
October sometime.
I've heard of
Summer.
school systems that they just basically like that 2 week break in between like semesters. They just have that like 4 or 5 times, and so
Right,
like they
yeah.
have
Yeah.
a longer period of like breaks in between, but they don't have the one large summer break. But it's nicer because they can get away with less school days, or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some of the colleges that I was looking at back when I was looking at colleges did like a trimester kind of thing where they had like a semester and then like a couple of weeks off and then another semester and then another couple of weeks off, and it was just like I think you could finish in 3 years instead of 4. But yeah, then you don't get summers and stuff. So
Yeah.
Anywho,
Well, it's really interesting for me because of I'm working in my co-op job, which for people who don't know is a job arranged around my schooling that was made with my school. So basically, it means that it splits up my university years into 5 years instead of 4 years. But then I get on-the-job experience and stuff like that. And what it means is that I'm still at that job until January. So this is the first time in like 16 years that I'm not going back to school after Labor Day. It's really weird
yeah.
because like I've missed certain semesters, like but it'll always be like the quote unquote winter semesters or like January to whatever. It's never been like the first one, the September one. It's weird seeing like everyone like prep back
Yeah.
to school, and I'm like, nah, just gonna be working more.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna be going back to school, and this will be my last year in community college. Hooray!
Oh wow. Hey.
Cool beans.
Neat.
Congrats.
Then
Yeah.
I hate you. I have
then I
3
get,
more years.
Well, then I get a transfer to a 4-year. So, ta-da!
Oh. What is yours right now? Like a. So are you gonna start halfway through that 4 year, or are you gonna get another 4 year on top?
I don't really
of
know how it works.
it? Fair enough. Fair enough.
Probably something to find out.
Yeah.
I am getting an associate's degree in business, and then I'm going to try to get a bachelor's at a 4-year. So, I don't know, however long that takes. I don't know.
Business,
yeah.
business, business,
Probably gonna
business.
be quicker than 4 years.
Numbers.
Probably.
Business numbers.
Yeah.
So, one last thing before we get to the art. You wanted to talk about Sydney, Joel?
I did. It's a convention in Sydney, Australia, which me and Silver Rainclouds are going to.
Yay!
It's on the 27th of September this year in Sydney, because I think I said that twice. But yeah, I'm going. Silver's going. Other people are going. I think the biggest name going at the moment is Ashley Ball.
Cool.
There's a couple others as well, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Are you
Cool.
gonna go?
Were you able to snag some media badges or?
You should.
I don't know if they do media
You
badges.
should
but-
contact the staff, the con staff, and see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth a shot, I guess.
So anyone who's going to Sydney, tweet at Joel or Atmospark and
Daring Dashi,
Are
I'm
you gonna
looking
go
at
meet Nezagoreng?
yeah,
Yes.
it's
local.
Sweet.
awesome.
Yeah. If anyone down there lives near the con, you guys should be going out because I mean this is one of the only cons, like one of the only pony cons that's in Australia,
only-
isn't it?
I think it's
You
the
sure? I
only-
thought there was
Yeah.
one other. It was like really small scale.
Well, there's a million of them anyways.
There was PonyCon AU, but it was also in Sydney.
Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, like head down there, say hi to Joel, and yeah, that's like a month away, so we'll keep
Do
reminding you.
Yeah. What is your new Twitter? Is
Do
it at Mospark or at Atmospark?
It's at Atmospark. Atmospark1 is somebody that I don't know who started.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Do it.
Cool.
Do it. Go and tweet at him. And meet him.
All right. Well, art time. And this is what I was talking about earlier when I said I'd get to it later. So last week we did the R&B show, which was just Bernd and I. We pulled 2 pieces each, and just unrelated to any themes, just 2 pieces that we wanted to talk about and we wanted to present to each other that we thought should be on the show. And it went really well, and we got a lot of positive feedback from people sending us, Twitter messages or leaving a comment on DeviantArt or stuff. So Bernd had the great idea to even up the playing field here. Right, Bernd?
Yes. I really liked that we got to both bring two pieces that we really wanted to talk about, because and it was just the two of us going back and forth. But Flutter Guy and FlutterSpark didn't get the chance to talk about pieces that they really enjoy because they weren't with us. So I thought for this week it would be nice to give them both the chance to bring pieces for this theme that they really enjoy and maybe would really love to feature, because I know a lot of times like Ted or Joel will bring up pieces and they'll be like, I really like this piece, I really enjoy it, but it's not either theme fitting or like in my ridiculous high art standards, I'm like, I don't feel like there's enough stuff in that we can talk about and highlight. So I thought this would be a great chance to feature those pieces that they both really love, and without my standards like towering over them, whatever you want. But
yeah, it's just a way for us to kind of get out pieces that we might not have been able to before. So we had the R&B show last week, and this week is the Funge show. I don't know how the heck we're gonna work that, but I'm gonna stick with Funge.
I put
now.
in Joel and Ted's Excellent Adventure, but
Yeah,
See, that's too long for an
I'm
episode
also,
title, though.
I
know.
don't think the acronym FNA works very much, so we're gonna avoid that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. Yeah, maybe it should be. I don't even know. I'm gonna call it the Funge for Flutter Guy and
What
Joel.
about the FlutterSpark show?
No, we have a question about this
guy.
later, Bernd.
Okay.
But don't start the shipping.
We're probably
quite
just
yet.
gonna
Anyways.
eventually just get rid of the theme names. This is gonna be episode 112. Ugh.
Basically. All right, so who wants to go first?
I nominate Joel.
You go.
Gets old, Joel.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do
I
it.
saw this coming from a mile away, by the way. I just wanted to point that out.
All right, I'll go first.
Yeah.
First one I've got here is called Music of the Sunrise by Rubalgun.
Love Rubalgun.
You should click on that now.
Cool.
Cute.
This, at first glance, I thought was Zocora, but it's not actually Zocora, it's just an OC.
Okay.
I mean, not just an OC, it's an OC. And this is, I was trying to decide between three of them. This one won out over the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what do you like about the piece?
Perspective.
Bird, shut up!
It's... I can't exactly put my finger on it. It's... something about it just really stands out to me. I don't know whether it's the character itself, or I don't know whether it's male or female. I think it's a dude. The flute that he is playing with that bright green fire, and just the way that character sticks out from the background, the way that Rubalgun has done that juxtaposition there between that the spike type thing and the background.
Interesting.
The way it's all done and the detail on the character.
Yeah.
Right.
I
really enjoy it. I can't like I said, I can't exactly pick why.
Well,
but
I
I really
was
like
coughing sarcastically, but what I was trying to cough out there was forced perspective, because I know you're a big fan of that. Where forced perspective, I believe, is the wrong term, but it's the artist is taking a very dynamic perspective that is at a very dramatic angle, and then portraying that in the piece. So like this vertical composition where you can see like the entire layout of the land all the way into the horizon, but like 90% of the entire picture is like land, and the horizon is at the very top sliver, so it's like we're almost looking directly down at this like land in front of us, but then you have this character on this very tall spire that is like clearly towering over things because the trees are so small.
Yeah. I guess you could call it false perspective.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of that, and there's a bit of something else too, because I think that there's like two different layers here going on, because it's kind of hard. It doesn't really kind of match in my head between what's going on in the background perspective-wise and what's going on in the foreground. Like the background seems very tilted forward to us, but the mountain, if that's supposed to be like a mountain, it looks like it's tilted back. So I'm not sure, or at least straight up and down. So there's an interesting kind of there's two different perspectives going on between the foreground and the background, like two different angles to it.
Yeah, I think using the term forced perspective would work.
This probably wouldn't exist.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It probably wouldn't exist. And I only say that because we see at the very like we can just tell by the bottom of the piece that we're looking at the tops of the trees, but then we're looking at the side of a mountain, right?
Right.
So it's interesting, and I don't necessarily think it like I wouldn't say it's wrong or anything like that. Absolutely not. It's just I think it presents itself in a very like realistic way, and then it kind of like is you suddenly realize that, oh no, this is like the foreground and the background are almost like two separate things put on top of each other.
It's also, like you said, it's a juxtaposition of perspectives. Like you have the huge layout of the very vast land, which is like long and sprawling. And there's like then there's like decent perspective there. I wouldn't say it's wrong at all. And then you have the foreground, which is this spire, this mountain, which is straight up and down. And I say that just because like kind of how the character is sitting, how the lighting's done, and then like there's grass on the hill like draping down and like a downwards angle, which makes me believe that gravity is falling in that way.
Well, you guys kind of
Gravity does fall. Yeah.
you guys kind of nailed the definition of forced perspective on the head. Like forced perspective is where the artist will juxtapose certain things, and it's not necessarily reality, in order to make certain things appear bigger or smaller, or like it's which is
I did a fair bit of research
much
into that when I was trying to make my episode.
yeah. It's pretty much what this artist is doing here.
Yeah, according to Wikipedia, forced perspective is a technique that employs optical illusion to make an object appear farther away, closer, smaller, or larger than it actually is, blah, 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 blah. So, like, art would use, basically, making the illusion that something is a certain way as a tool.
Yeah. I really like the stranding in the character's hair in this.
It's very
really
realistic and hairy. I mean, hairy is an adjective.
But it also when you zoom back from it, sometimes when you get too detailed, when you zoom back, it kind of becomes this mess in your brain. But the artist kind of does this dual nature where if you zoom in, right, you get the details of the hair and all of that fun stuff. But when you zoom out, it kind of meshes together and almost blurs together so that it looks more pleasant.
Yeah, this artist has a very nice way of actually drawing hair. It's very similar to artists we featured before, that Fluttershy in the water one. What was that? You remember the name of that artist?
I don't remember the name of that artist.
Yakov Vlad?
Yakov Lev? Oh, you mean the one with like the blue bottom and then the...
Was it Yakov Vlad or...
Okay, yeah.
Regardless, that kind of like somewhat realistic style of doing hair is similar.
Yes, it's Yakov Lev Vad. That's hard to say. Also, coincidentally, both of them Russian.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
Seems that Russians make good artists.
Yeah, it's a Russian style, I suppose. There's actually, if anyone's been to a few like more popular pony conventions, there is an artist who does romantically apocalyptic. I forget his name, but he always has a booth where he sells a bunch of pony art by a bunch of artists who are all Russian. So he has a Russian Brony fan artist booth. So you probably saw, if anyone was at BronyCon, you definitely saw a work by, I believe, maybe this artist and a bunch of other Russian artists who we've featured on the show.
Yeah, it was really cool to kind of go to that booth and just like, we featured that, and it's all like by different artists, but unfortunately, like they can't travel to the US to BronyCon. So
right, yeah, that's the biggest thing.
They have a couple of people that do go and sell their stuff, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah. So one last thing I wanted to say about this piece before we move on was that I really like the way that it gives you a curvature of the land. So, in the background, we are seeing things from kind of a side perspective, whatever those whether that be mountain range or giant sand dunes or something. We have the background, and then as it comes closer to us, the more it kind of the earth curves down, and it really gives the feeling that there's a curvature to this landscape, and that this landscape is so grand, and you're seeing so much of it that you can actually see the curvature of the earth,
which would mean that you are very high. So it gives a really great feeling or sense of height.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I just say one thing about this before we move on? I really like the coloring in it, because you get this kind of juxtaposition, for lack of a better word, between the purple in the background and the green in the foreground. And if you separate it out, like the background and the foreground, each section on its own is very analogous. But I mean, obviously combined, you have the duality of the two colors. I really like it.
Yeah, I would even say like the major part of green and then the reddish sunset is a compliment in itself. Makes it a very nice color scheme.
Mm-hmm. I was just saying, watching the background from sort of the bottom towards the back transition from detailed-ish to nothing.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool too.
All right, so did we want to do both of Joel's pieces?
No,
do yours.
alternating.
Okay, so speaking of Yakovlev Vlad,
We didn't plan this, I swear. These are all we're all seeing
What
these art
hast
pieces
thou
for the first
done?
time as we announce them.
that was completely unplanned. I was like, wait, what?
This is awkward.
How do
How
they
quick
know?
you have to change your selection. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
No, he's a great artist. So.
Yeah. So this is a piece featuring, I believe that is Celestia, yes, in a suit of armor, carrying a flag with either a sunrise or a sunset behind her. And I really enjoy kind of this more 3D realistic style that Yakovlev has and Pwnykiller X has. And we've already featured some of Yakovlev's more recent work, but we haven't featured this one, and I really like a lot of things with it. I like the flag, the texture on the flag. I like the coloring in the background, and he always does armor really well.
Yeah, you've always been really drawn to more realistic features and especially like hair and things like that.
Yeah, I agree. Plus those wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, those wings are actually really nice. I think sometimes people can go a bit over the top. And while I'm not saying this isn't over the top, obviously every single feather, oh my goodness. But at the same time, like it does the same thing as the hair in the last piece. When you zoom out, it kind of blurs a bit, so it's not too grainy, and it doesn't really like it doesn't feel grating. Even though it's quite detailed if you zoom in. The same with the hair in this piece as well. I think any artist that wants to do detailed hair has to both make it look good up close and also when you zoom back, because you're going to see those different perspectives. And honestly, any good artist should look at their piece from those two different perspectives, because it can tell you a lot about what you're doing with your art and some potential pitfalls that you might
That's
fall
actually
into.
a great point, and that's something that I kind of wanted to bring up. And when I was like taking art classes in college, one of the major points that my art teacher would say is that when you're working on something like a painting, you should always like place it on the wall or like stand it up and then step back from it. Just the concept of stepping back from something was like a huge major part, and it was an important like tool or technique that he would talk about like very often, and a piece of advice he would always give. And I think and like that's for traditional, but I think it translates to digital as well, because like as an artist, you're always looking at your art in its best, fullest resolution and always working up close. And sometimes artists tend to obsess over the details, but it's like when people are looking at your art, for the most part, when they're first exposed to it, it's a thumbnail, and they don't even see it like in the full thing. So then they have to first click on it, and then they're going to look at it in a small resolution because like DeviantArt sizes things down or Tumblr sizes things down or whatever. And like that's their first impression, is just it being a small image. And so it's the same thing for art in a traditional sense, that you're always like 6 inches away from your canvas or your painting and up close and obsessing over the details, but no one's gonna put their nose 6 inches away from your art piece. They're gonna be standing like 10 feet away because it's hanging on the wall in like a gallery or something like that. So like it's that same kind of transfer over, that you have to be aware of how your art looks from a distance or at a smaller, sized down resolution in like a piece like this. But Yakovlev is a very talented artist in that even at a smaller resolution that fits on my monitor, this piece is still looks absolutely amazing. And then when I zoom in, it is equally like it blows those expectations away.
Yeah.
Well, I completely agree. I'm doing the same thing at the moment with the vector. I have to keep zooming out to make sure the shading is not over the top.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because something that looks fine up close doesn't necessarily look good from far away. And I think a lot of the times with these more realistic features for artists, it's almost like a risk reward in a way, because the more detailed you get, you know, you have a lot of potential to have it be a bit grating when you zoom out. But when you get it right, you've got that kind of duality of looking great up close and also looking great from far away.
Well, and a lot of 3D ponies kind of fall into that uncanny horse valley. But I think both Yakovlev and Pony Killer X kind of hit a balance between like realistic shading and also cartoony styling, where it doesn't like feel off, but it definitely like kind of gives it a more 3D feel.
Like it exists.
I really love the way that he did the wingtips in this piece. How they're all like folded over each other.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's cool.
That gives a sense of like what is that it is 3D. It's like kind of that 3D sense of making things exist. It makes it feel like it's folding over or like coming at you. It's a very dynamic tool that is actually like a technique that artists can use. Another artist who I'm obviously a big fan of who uses that technique is Blitzpony. There's a piece she did recently in her gallery of like Celestia arcing back, and she's amazing at doing action poses and action lines. And what those like angled wingtips like folding over kind of do is they kind of give it a sense of action, give it a sense that it exists in space, and these aren't just like little flat plain feathers. It gives them almost like volume, you know what I mean?
Yeah. They kind of pop from the page, and the whole volumetric. I guess it would be kind of volumetric lighting or something like that. Maybe not.
Yeah. I also enjoy the fact that he's made this flag and then managed to distort it in such a way that doesn't look bad.
Yeah.
Because
I was just about to say that exact same thing. Yeah.
I think he's created this image of a flag flat and then used some distortion to make it look like it's waving.
Photo.
So
he uploaded the flag by itself separately.
Yeah.
Photoshop Warp Tool does amazing things, does wonders.
Yeah.
And like I can definitely tell like that was a technique he used. And actually going off on that, like this, like I think I mentioned before in the Fluttershy piece that this artist did, which is Simple Curiosity, if anyone's interested. This artist Yakovlev Vad is Yakovlev.
No, where's the
I
L?
don't know. Well, let me read it.
Yakovlev.
Yakovlev dash Vad. Anywho, we'll call him Yakov.
Just call him
Yakov. Anywho, or Vad.
Yakety
Doesn't
yak.
matter. Irrelevant. Anyway, this artist is very good at using Photoshop. He's extremely experienced in his medium, in his tool that he uses to make these art pieces. I commented on it in the Fluttershy piece with the trees, with the leaves, and you see that same technique used in this piece, because like in the tree in the background, like where those are leaf brushes, like that is like a tree brush that the artist used and like used in his newer piece and is now using in this in his older piece. But he's also very, very good at digitally painting with like normal, more just like default brushes. Like if you look in the lower tree, like there's two trees. There's a detailed one with leaves up top, and then right below that there are trees that are actually digitally painted. Same thing with the pine trees in the very background above Celestia's tail there. And then there's a mixture. You can see some use of some digital brushes that are like look like grass or leaves in the plants and the foliage in the bottom at the feet, and then there are actually like digitally painted leaves that are drawn like by hand. And so it's like it's this mixture of using his tool and his medium to like help him describe things and also like painting them from scratch. Where like an artist that always paints from scratch is Husi always paints stuff from scratch. But this more like realistic, semi-realistic style that Yakov has is like he utilizes his tools like in Photoshop to kind of give it that interesting crossover of ultra realistic, but not really.
Yeah, I noticed that in some of the leaves, it's actually a really interesting technique, because it does give it less of a completely realistic styling. It's still like a piece of art. It's still kind of painted, but I don't know. It's a neat trick. I think.
Trick technique. I guess techniques are tricks, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I guess, Atmo, if you want to show your second piece.
I can do my second piece. Okay. So, this one. is my second piece. It is called The Chinese New Year by Vintage Scorpion,
Interesting.
which is the year of the horse this year.
What
Oh,
a
is it? That's
coincidence!
cool.
Which is also probably why they released the Pinkie Pie.
Cool.
They released a Pinkie Pie fashion size with a Chinese New Year costume.
Yeah, I did see that.
Cool.
It's pretty cool. So,
I like this one.
go on.
Why do you like this one?
It's a mix of a whole lot of different things. It's highly detailed in some parts. It's not so detailed in other parts. It's a mixture of... I quite like the style, like the lineless character style that, what's his name? Vintage Scorpion has made. And it's like the characters themselves are highly stylized, and it looks like it could be something Chinese.
Right, yeah,
And
it keeps it
the
very
pasta hanging
culturally
from the
sound.
lambs.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I think I really like the juxtaposition of the very, very detailed outfits they're wearing, and the fact that they themselves are very flat compared to them. You know, like minor shading, no outlines, for the most part one color on the body, and it kind of like plays off of each other in an interesting way. This entire piece almost looks like paper. So that's cool.
Yeah. There's almost a texture on it. There's not a texture, but there's almost a texture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like all of the stylizing to basically make it fit in with Chinese traditional kind of art style. Like the costumes that they're wearing are really cool, and like the placement of the paper lanterns, and then you have the cherry blossom tree in the background. I like it. It's cool.
It does give you a sense of China.
It's very China.
A sense of China.
Very knees.
Okay,
Much
then.
wow.
That's Japanese. It's a Shiba Inu.
It's a Shiba Inu.
Oh my
you
God.
Shiba Inu.
Culturally insensitive crusaders.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. So I find the choice of background really interesting. There are certain background elements which are cool, like the I guess those are cherry blossoms, or no, they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sakura.
Well, anyways, there's a lot of
Right.
those petals kind of falling off and creating this like kind of almost like starry in a way background, you know, spotted white and pink petals. But the actual background itself is just kind of this mishmash of almost watery grays that perform like a white vignette around a darker center, and it's very simple, very quick probably, but is an interesting choice because it kind of creates this circular sense which the characters almost obey in their poses.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that until I zoomed out and looked at it. Like, the characters are laid out in kind of a circular fashion. And I do...
Yeah, and I mean even the tree itself, the branches are curling around to kind of match the background in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like you were talking about with the cherry blossoms in the background, and also it is a night scene, so those are stars. It is intermixed with stars, and you have the moon up on the upper left.
I see. I see what you meant now.
Yeah. I actually didn't know that, so
Yeah.
I was completely making it up as I went along. I
As we
said it
often
looked
do.
like stars, but I didn't actually know. That's even more interesting now, and I think the background's got more to it than I think I
That
initially
brings
gave
the
the
question:
credit for.
is it this dark thing placed behind the characters, or is it a white vignette?
Right? Yeah, like what's on top, the white or the black?
Is it zebra white with black stripes or black with white stripes?
There's no zebras here, Ted. That was the first piece.
All right.
Pay attention.
Yeah, no, a
bad.
couple things I feel like this piece does really well. It's like we mentioned, like the costume things, like that's great. But like artistically, there is kind of like a foreground, background. There is kind of a mix of like depth and layers. So like you have the lanterns that basically create this feeling of space. So you have like the big lantern on the right that's in front of Rainbow Dash, and then the lanterns are now then placed behind the characters and get smaller. So it gives you that sense of, you know, that this piece is receding in space. And the other thing that I really enjoy is how Rainbow Dash is shaded. So it took me a little while to decipher because like I found Rainbow Dash's face odd at first, so I kind of had to look at it and like kind of step back at it. And it's a very unique take. So like Pinkie Pie is from the exact profile and she doesn't have a lot of shading. It's basically just different gradients on her, not even gradients, just different shades on her leg, and that's about it. That's about as deep as it goes. But Rainbow Dash is super unique in that there's this shadow placed on the bottom of her like head, her jaw, because her head's kind of like cocked back and like at an angle, and then let's see, that's her left side, but on our right of her face, it doesn't have an eye. The artist chose not to put an eye there, and then just shaded that side of Rainbow Dash's face in like again in a different shade of blue. Which was kind of like a unique way to make the face, and it's also very stylistic to choose not to actually draw the other eye. And also, the artist chose not to draw Rainbow Dash's other ear when we'd probably be able to see it with how big her ears are. So it's kind of like this leaving out of certain details and like leaving some in, which again are all like stylistic freedoms, which is actually like kind of a cute thing. And again, like ponytail. And then also, there's kind of this unique shading in her legs. So like in her far leg, and then in her and then her close leg, where like the cutie mark is actually like not on the direct side of the leg and like at an angle. It's kind of just like pasted like over the knee. And again, like I would assume that's intentional, but again, like it's kind of like a cute thing. It's almost like a abstractionist, if you will, like not so much caring about what it's supposed to be proper wise, but just kind of portraying things as you would like to.
Yeah, that is very true, and it's got the tiniest little influence of abstraction there, just in the way that it's all ended up being laid out, you know.
Yeah, with like, because if you look at, well, like when I first look at Rainbow Dash's face, like just the brightest blue part of it, it looks like it's in profile from like a side view, and then it's almost like abstracted in that you can see multiple angles of Rainbow Dash's face to where the artist then drew Rainbow Dash in kind of like a 3D perspective. So like, I'm giving a lot of credit to the artist here, but like whether it's intentional or not, like I like it, and I think it's very cool that the artist chose to do it in that kind of this specific way.
Yeah. Speaking of intentional, I just wanted to go back really quick to the lanterns, because I don't think people might realize how like powerful those lanterns are in terms of like creating depth within the piece. But each one of those looks like it's been placed very intentionally. It's just a little bit over the characters or under the characters, but they're placed in such a way that they're not just standing on their own. The one on the right is just a little bit over Rainbow Dash's leg. And the two in the back are just a little bit behind the hair and just a little bit behind the hair. And it really does add so much to the depth.
Also the size. Like the size of the lanterns themselves gives you a perception of depth.
Yeah, that too.
It's more of those illusions that we were talking about.
I wanted to go back to talking about Rainbow Dash, and just to kind of say that I really enjoy the carefree feeling that I get from the piece, because like you were saying, Bern, there's a lot of things that seem like they were just kind of thrown together, but I'm sure that a lot of thought went into them, because the whole piece, like as a whole, looks fantastic and everything fits, and there's certain parts that blend with each other, but like you're saying with the cutie mark and like with Rainbow Dash's face and stuff like that, there's certain things that like are very simplified and stylized, and I think it kind of definitely adds to the nature of the piece just being very like carefree and spirited and stuff like that.
Yeah, which I like to see in artists.
Also just wanted to say really quickly, the clothing that they're both wearing really gives you a sense of like Chinese traditional dress. Like even if you didn't know what Chinese traditional dress was, this gives you a really good sense of it.
One thing, like, I guess what I would question is, like, Pinkie Pie's headdress. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen that in Chinese culture. That's usually when there's, like, a golden, like, headdress placed over a character. It's usually, like, an Indian-based thing, I would assume.
I love that it's, like, around her hair.
Yeah, my one critique would be that Rainbow Dash's right front hoof looks very tiny.
It does look a bit small.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go your second one.
So my second one is from a certain assassin monkey.
That link doesn't say that.
That doesn't. It's actually my
Damn it,
own
deviant
piece.
links.
Reddit.
There. Use that link instead.
Ah, it's Applejack. Of course it is.
Yes, of course.
Applejack.
So this is one of Assassin Monkey's latest pieces, and I absolutely adore his styling, like that he's kind of grown into. I don't know. There's something about how he colors things and his painterly style, and of course the whole Applejack thing kind of helps.
Except awkward. That's not Applejack.
Yeah, I know, but it looks like Applejack.
That's true.
It's close enough.
Fair enough.
Probably related.
Probably related. There's also a pony that looks like Pinkie Pie in the background, so probably related. I don't know. I enjoy a lot of his more actiony scenes like this, and he's got a lot of scenes that show motion with diagonals and stuff that we've already brought up on the show quite a bit. But this is one of the pieces that we haven't really shown on the show, and he's been doing a lot of these kind of in the midst of battle sequences. And I don't know, I really like how he uses kind of this fog for some atmospheric perspective, and yeah, it's he does a lot of things right, I think.
Yeah, a lot of things very well. Like, I would have to say, I feel like all of his work is very based on something, or takes basis from things that are very, what's the word? Like, traditional isn't quite what I'm looking for, but based on, like, existing masterpieces, I guess, is a good way to put it, of, like, old, like, master traditional art in, like, classical, like, art history and things like that. Like, like, all of his work, when, like, it's more these, like, midst of battle pieces, start to feel like pieces that I've seen brought up in art history to a certain extent. I feel like Assassin Monkey is at least knowledgeable, or has seen like works by like very experienced like historical pieces, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, this definitely does kind of bring me back to some art that I've seen. There's like a couple of famous pieces like Washington crossing the Delaware that this isn't obviously kind of a replica of that, but it reminds me a lot of that.
It has similar tendencies, like the character, like the focus character, like in a stance or whatnot, you know.
Yeah, and the whole lighting kind of shining on that central character.
That actually, the use of lighting that Assassin Monkey has used is a very like traditional use of lighting. It's called it's like dynamic. I'm probably making this words up again, but it's I always use the word dynamic too much, but it's a focus of lighting that focuses on the character. It's also a very heavenly lighting because it is coming from, you know, the heavens, the clouds, and it's spotlighting is what it's doing. It's directing where you want the light to be and on what characters. So like he's chosen that the light is going to be like highlighting and backlighting and spotlighting the character on center stage, which is our focus, which is like the character rearing there who looks like Applejack, like wearing armor, and then also highlighting the characters in the background in specific ways.
Yeah. Well, and it's also interesting because in this piece, and also in a lot of pieces that are similar, the lighting, this heavenly lighting kind of silhouettes the character a bit. So like the face of the main character is a little bit in shadow, even though like the rest of the piece, I mean, it's the lighting coming from above isn't that bright where it like outshines the ambient light. So you still get the details in the face and stuff like that. But it's interesting because like the exposure on her hair and like on where the light is shining on her is like it's overexposed. So the exposure is definitely on her face and facial features.
Assassin Monkey definitely loves his backlighting. And he's also, chosen to put specific areas of the character like in light and where we can see him. And that's another use of like artistic freedom that he's like chosen to do, where it makes this piece look very posed. It looks like it was done in like a professional photo studio, if you will, because like the character is lighted in a way that is very beautiful, and we can see all the details, where if you think about it, a very bright sunlight source wouldn't be so generous or, you know, exact, like to put all the light on the character, like would be very in shade or whatever. So again, it kind of lays out the scene to be very grand and makes the character that he is lighting seem very heroic because of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I am parroting all the things that I've learned in art history.
Yeah. Something that's kind of small, but that I really like in this piece that is kind of related to the lighting is on the main character's mane and tail. There's these like splotches, which I believe is meant to be like a bokeh blur. So like the aperture of a camera, when it's slightly out of focus and there's light coming out, it produces these circular shapes, and it's like a small detail, but I think it's really clever.
I never knew that term. Today I learned.
Huh. Yeah. I've been playing around with my DSLR a lot.
Flutter guy, the photography guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think something that I'm not sure if we've mentioned it too much recently or not, but it's something that stuck out to me was these strides that Assassin Monkey has taken in terms of facial expressions and general face structure and anatomy. And he kind of broke through a barrier in my mind with one piece that I don't want to mention now because we'll probably bring it up at some point. But since that point, he's found this new style, and he didn't just switch straight over to it and done everything from there, but he used it to kind of learn and grow as an artist, and to help himself kind of construct these better looking and more aesthetically pleasing faces. And we always mentioned in the past that he does griffins really, really well, and you can see that on the right hand side. But I think it's really impressive that I can look at his pieces nowadays and look at all the ponies on the left and say like wow, these are really like aesthetically like that makes sense to me, and it looks normal and it looks good. The structure of them and the anatomy of them. It's something that he's improved like vastly over the last like couple months.
Yeah.
So there are a couple points that I really wanted to bring up about this if you didn't have any more, Flutter Guy.
I had a couple more points, but
one each. Go.
Okay, I'll start. I really like how Assassin Monkey did the framing in this piece, because there's kind of a pseudo vignette on it. It's like a circular vignette. You have the clouds kind of on the upper left and the upper right, which are a lot darker. They're a lot cooler than the rest of the center of the piece. And then in the bottom left and bottom right, you also kind of get this darker feeling. In the bottom right, he uses a darker colored griffin to kind of, I guess, make that vignette a bit more prominent. And it definitely adds to that whole like heroic feeling where this pony is front and center and like lights shining on her and stuff. So I really like that. Assassin Monkey has been doing a lot of really well done framing.
Yeah. The point I wanted to bring up is it kind of goes back to that sense that I was telling, or the point that I was saying about how this looks like a very like historical like art masterpiece or traditional painting, because this looks just like something I could have seen and probably did see in art history, where like of how this battle is laid out, how the characters in this scene are laid out. So like you have all this army of ponies like in the background, like on the left behind the character, like following and trailing the character, and then you see this physical like cross or the separation of those characters with these kind of like villains, the griffins, like on the right. So there's this line drawn of kind of how they're converging in battle. And also how like all the characters and where they're looking, they all have focuses and they're all looking somewhere, which directs your eye and tells you as a viewer where to look. So you have all these characters looking at different things. You have like the pony with the beard looking at the main character, like looking up at this character, and then you have all the griffins like focused on, again, this like main character center stage being lit. And like it's a very almost like religious setting or like battle, and that like these ponies converging with these griffins almost have like a divine favor, if you will, because that they're kind of like lit by this like aura of God. Like, because in art history, light was seen, ethereal light like this, especially on a stage like this, was seen as a sign of God. Like light was associated with basically like God or the presence of God. So you kind of see these characters in almost like this divine like chosen battle, like they were chosen to win, like converging with these like evil villains. So it gives you that strong sense of like good and evil, if what have you, whatever.
Yeah.
We had like all really awesome stuff, and even in the very bottom corner where we're not supposed to look, in the very dark and like depths of this little painting that Assassin Monkey's done, there's like a little dodo bird, like in the very bottom left, that is painted in dark colors and meant to be subtle and almost like go unnoticed. But it's a very cute touch. And something else that was really surreal is I actually tuned into his live stream when he was painting this and was only in black and white, and he was still working on the value, and like not even all the characters were finished. And I remember he drew in that dodo, and then he started copy and pasting it all over the bloody image, and so there was like hundreds of them. It was ridiculous. And then another thing that he did, which was absolutely stupid and ridiculous, is he put googly eyes on every single one of his characters. So he went in and googly-eyed every bloody pony and griffin, and that was absolutely ridiculous. Anyway,
That sounds amazing.
but yeah, very, very awesome work. Like, this is some of the most professional, like, pony art, like, out there. Even though it's, like, it's not, like, it's, like, kind of very, I don't know, like, painted, you know, kind of still messy. And grotesque, because I like that word, because there's a lot of like paint on paint and like digital layers on paint that are very awesome feeling, and just awesome job. Like, even like a point I wanted to make, or something I want to point out, the very far left character with like the red hair, notice that she's kind of like unfinished almost, and like receding into this dust, and like it's just really blotchy brushstrokes and like undetailed, and like she and like her body and tail are like extremely not detailed, but then you have super finite detail in other places that matter where he wants us to focus. It's just good choice. Good choice, sir.
I think I struck a chord with you, Bern.
Yeah, this piece specifically, I didn't expect it to strike such a chord. I've actually forgotten a lot of the things that like I've learned in art history just because it's been so long since I've been in that class. So it was really nice to see this piece and be reminded of all those.
Yeah.
Sorry that I kind of took over your artwork.
No, that's okay. I enjoy hearing about all these things, and I do. Like, it's been forever since I've taken art classes, but I've seen a bunch of art pieces that look very similar to this, and have kind of noticed things because of that. So
we should have a neoclassical episode. Really like the era of art.
We should. Next week's the neoclassical.
No, for God's sake.
Neo-horsical. Moving on.
All right, moving on. Questions.
Yeah, I guess I should do them this week, right? Because I picked them.
Are they supposed to be there?
All right, deal. So I picked the questions this week, and they're both silly and stupid and hopefully quick, because we knew that we'd run up a bit
6
on time.
minutes.
So
Here we go.
we'll try to answer them fairly quickly and slightly less ridiculously than the questions probably intend them. But very first question is from Yala Wolf, and she says, "What is your favorite and or least favorite CAC meme?"
Of course it was from Yellow Wolf.
It would be.
What's the question
I
again?
said this question again.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I just said it. Yeah. So what's your favorite and least favorite CAC meme?
Does it have to be about ourselves, or can it be about like
Doesn't matter.
Another? Yeah. Okay.
My favorite is all the ones involving me. My least favorite is the ones involving you guys.
Screw you guys.
Fair enough.
You guys suck.
Fair enough.
I don't know. It's a toss-up between value and the sunlight hurts my eyes.
For which?
Wait. There's a two-part question to this. How can you have a toss-up to a two-part question?
A toss-up for best. Or best
okay.
meme.
I need to preface this.
Okay.
Yeah, and sorry. And least favorite meme, also value. It's a love-hate relationship. I'm sure Bern has the same thing.
That
Oh, yeah.
is funny.
For like for a long time, value is like a least favorite, but it sort of wasn't. It's I've grown to really like the value meme because it's like it's something that a lot of people know. Even like random artists I will bump into at conventions and stuff. Like, oh, you're the value guys. It's like, yeah, whatever. It's good to be known. And it's like it's a concept in art, and I'd like to be it's nice to be known for an artistic concept, even if it is joking. To like.
And at the very least, it passes around.
Yeah, like I'm
knowledge,
stressing
right?
an artistic point, so it's still it's cute. So it's definitely not my least favorite. It's grown on me.
I think that there's probably like a bell curve for memes, like how much you hate them. So like it starts out like, oh yeah, this is funny, and then it like gets intolerable, and then it's like, oh well, it's not so
but then
bad.
when you complain about how intolerable it is, you just turn into Brony.
That is true.
It's kind of it's more of like a wave. It comes and goes really.
For least favorite,
Just gotta ride the wave.
least favorite, I guess for a big time, my least favorite was like the whole cage thing. It's like, you shut up.
Yeah.
I don't want to shut up. You can't tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me. But there's been a lot of cute stuff about that as well. So
Yeah,
You got a cage
It's inspired many a thing.
by Yellow Wolf.
that's true.
give you
I
a cage.
actually do keep that on my desk.
It's true. And for me, I don't know. There's probably a better favorite that I just can't think of right now. No, I do know it. Okay, never mind. I found it. I like the fact that we managed to push the man shower thing.
Yes.
Yes.
I just looked up from my desk and saw a picture of him on my wall, and I was like, wait. I like the fact that we ended up like meeting people and that they called him like man shower.
Yeah.
I think that's really funny.
It's like, oh, the man shower. What's up?
Yes, it's the man shower. I've had people in casual conversations to be like, so man shower, he was, and I was like, what? Did you just call him man shower? It's amazing.
I also like
And
man
my
chowder.
least favorite, the horn growth thing.
Yeah.
It's
Knew you were gonna
not-
say that. Waiting
not
for it.
funny.
Sorry, but not really.
I don't think it's funny.
It's totally funny.
What about the cookie dough thing? Do you hate that as equally?
No, I like that.
All right,
It's good.
use the
It's true.
horn growth
Well,
thing more.
obviously he likes cookie dough, dude.
Get it.
It's true. That's the thing. It's true. The horn growth thing is just like it's a joke that is there to bug me.
Success.
It's annoying me because it's not true. Whereas the cookie dough thing is cool because it's true. Yeah, absolutely. Please feel free to send me cookie dough ice cream. Actually, don't do
That
that.
would
I
turn
will
out
not
terrible
eat
in the
anything.
mail. Just get this
Yeah.
nasty thing.
I will not eat anything that people
know.
send to me. It could
On
be
the
poison.
man shower thing, I actually made a new character in a game called Path of Exile, where the character leaps around like on the ground and then makes like a big ground slam, and I named him Man Shower because it's like raining men.
Because he's just a shower of men. Exactly.
Fantastic.
All right, so the second question, which is going to go very quickly because it's a silly question. It is from Meti Bobo, and he asks, "What is your favorite ship, show-related or podcast-related, and why?" I love the fact that he had to be like podcast-related, like if you guys really want to talk about people putting you in relationships with each other.
Yay.
Let me just word that so subtly.
Yeah. It's like show-related or
or real life.
podcast-related. Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and be the one that says late customer X Otaku AP.
Can we claim that as our own?
I think we can.
We
We
started
started
that.
it too.
Well, they started their bromance, like going back and forth
Yeah.
and drawing like pictures of each other, and people were just like, "Hey, something's going on here." And then someone made fan
People
art of
haven't
it.
drawn it yet.
They have. It's in my favorites. I'll show you. It has a Taco
Really?
AP in socks holding down.
Oh, that's
Lake
the
Customer.
DualShock one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I meant ones other
other
than
than
that
that?
because I
I
saw
don't
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, that's fair enough.
But
That's fair enough.
I loved their art like duel kind of like their
yeah.
inclusions of each other. Yeah.
They gotta bring me into it. So what I ever do.
Yeah.
Now I have a physical art that Dave, late customer, drew me of him and his friend Shroom tying me up. Oh yes, it's as fabulous as it
I'm
sounds.
glad you ended the sentence there.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what?
Really great place to end the sentence. Well, Bernd, now that you're talking,
Oh yes.
what's your
My
favorite ship?
favorite ship is actually sort of podcast related, sort of show related. It's artist related. My favorite ship is my character, my OC, with Octavia, actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I like
'cause,
that
Which
too.
started out.
what's
Is
his
that because
face
of that
did
one thing that Agamemnon
Yeah,
made?
correct. What it started out as Agamemnensar actually made a fan art of me with him. So he like shipped us. So basically my OC with his OC, and for his OC he uses Octavia with a bow instead of like a bow tie, like a hair bow. It's kind of what he uses as a representation of himself because he really likes Octavia, thinks it's cute. So he shipped Octavia with a bow with my OC, my character, And then I think he made a couple pieces of that, and then one of his artist friends, Shinoda, saw it and then made fan art for him. I don't know if Shinoda knows who we are or knows who I am, but then of his character and my character as like a gift, which is absolutely adorable. And then what that spawned was my own fictional, I guess our own fictional child of Octavia and my character, which is Sunshine Melodies, as my waifu is aptly named. And
All right,
I'm not done
the
yet.
word waifu has been dropped. No, the word
I'm
waifu
not
has been
done
dropped.
yet.
Burned. Come on.
Well, and so I think it's fantastic to have like a fictional like OC child, like shipping child, and it's absolutely adorable because one thing I really like aspire towards is to be like a father, like to be a dad. So to have like this little fictional horse character, it's really, really weird, but it's like, it's just absolutely my favorite thing ever. And then Agamemnemsar actually made a piece of fan art with like me and then my fictional horse child like on my head, and it is like one of my favorite pieces of fan art that I've ever received.
It's adorable.
I've always wanted to be a horse dad.
A horse father, if you will.
Oh my god. All right, Joel, Atmospark, Pinky Dash.
Does mine count if I say that because people ship myself and Silver Reigns?
No, it
Does that
doesn't
count?
count. Pick another one.
That's an IRL ship. You can't do that.
No, pick another one.
I guess.
Get vetoed.
Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash.
Okay.
Hey, your old name.
How about the name of the
Dash.
episode? Me and Flutter Go.
Oh, I get it.
Aw, we're shipped.
Because
He's shipping us.
Well, the name of this episode is FlutterSpark Excellence Adventure.
That is true.
that is not the name of the episode. I will have you know. And the day that I die and you become the editor, you may choose the name of the episode. But until that day,
I think it should be called FlutterSpark OTP.
oh my God. This is why neither one of you names the episodes. All right. Well, mine's quick and easy, and I don't even have to say it. Let me just imply it by saying that I have 81 pictures of Soren and 562 pictures of Rainbow Dash in my gallery. So take a wild guess.
How about Apple Sack and Charity?
Yes, I'm going to allow this.
Yeah.
Hey, also, while
So,
we're
yeah.
on the topic of ships, there's an animation we'll throw in our favorites. So you should go check out our favorites folder on DeviantArt. It's a little animated comic called My Little Pony _ Fine Like Wine or whatever, and it's an animation made by Van Ripper, which is absolutely adorable, and it's a Spike and Rarity ship.
Well, that was random.
It's just random plug. It's just ships was a topic, and it's something that I feel like we could feature, but you know it's not on this episode, so we'll just throw it in there.
Okay. Well, we're over time. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode in general. Who wants to do the plugs? Because make them snappy.
You took my other job, I'll do it. So we have a DeviantArt page, which is cutieartcrusaders.deviantart.com, favorites, etc., etc. We have a Gmail account, which is cutieartcrusaders@gmail.com. We also have a Twitter, which is @cutieartcrusader. We're on the Facebooks, which is facebook.com/cutieartcrusaders, something like that. And we have the YouTubes, which is youtube.com/cutieartcrusaders, and Tumblr, which is cutieartcrusaders.tumblr.com.
All of the things.
All of those things, we are there. Go find us and
Find us
talk to us and
everywhere.
tell us about your favorite stuff.
Your favorite ships.
Okay. Well,
Nick?
that is everything for this week, guys. Hope that everyone enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed it. Whether or not you're on the... What do you mean, wait?
Next week's theme. We have no idea.
Next week's theme doesn't exist because we make it up every single week. I
But-
don't know why we keep trying to push this.
but-
Maybe.
maybe neoclassical. We'll see.
It's absolutely not neoclassical.
See what I
All
can
right,
scrounge.
I'm done. Go ahead. Wrap it
May
up.
I continue? May I proceed, milady?
Why, yes.
Monsieur.
Okay.
Sir.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for watching, whether or not you're on the live stream or on YouTube. We love you all the same. My name is Rainbow Plasma,
My name's Burn.
I'm FlutterGuy317.
I'm Atmospark.
and we'll see you guys next week.
Good night, my bronies.
Bye.